coverage continues on the News and Talk of Sonoma County, 1350 KSRO.
It is 7:16 at the News and Talk of Sonoma County, 1350 KSRO. Good morning, I'm Michelle Marques. Dean Koontz is back with his most likable creation, according to the New York Times. The long-awaited new novel in the Odd Thomas saga, Odd Apocalypse, is on shelves now. There's even a feature film adaptation of the original Odd novel, Odd Thomas, featuring such names as William Dafoe and Patton Oswalt, and starring Anton Yelchin as Odd. Joining us live on KSRO to talk about his book is author Dean Koontz. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's so great to talk with you. My husband is a huge fan. I just have to start that out there. We have all of your books.
Oh, a man of taste and substance.
Exactly. So tell me about Odd Thomas. What do you like about this character?
Well, he's very humble, and that's unusual for a lead in a male action figure lead. He lives a very simple life because his life is complicated by his ability to see the spirits of the lingering dead and certain other talents, and that so overwhelms him that he has to earn his living in some simple way, and he's a fry cook and a very good one, but he even says some days that's too much to handle, and he wishes he could get a job in shoe sales because that would be simpler. And he's just a character who faces the darkness. He can always find the light in the darkness, and he can always find a bit of humor in even the most humorless sort of stories. And he fascinates me because of his qualities, how much he loves the world and how much he loves mundane small things as opposed to the things that we mostly chase after in life.
Now, you're always recommended to write what you know. This is a character who has premonitions, sees dead people. Do you have or have you had any psychic experiences?
I haven't had any psychic experiences, no, but I think that old thing, write what you know, means applies in very different ways. I do know the world of fry cooking. I do know all the lingo. I do know all the places I write about, and that's more important than, otherwise somebody who had never been to war couldn't write a novel set at a war. That's the kind of advice I'll always advise writers. Take that with a grain of salt because don't write about something that you can research and know, but you would then have to let your imagination go.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, now this is a very popular character for you, 5 novels, there's graphic novels, you just released some digital-only ebooks about Odd. Do you think that readers are drawn to Odd because they want to have a connection with the afterlife?
I think they're drawn to him because of the character he is, as I said, humble. He's actually on a 7-book journey to complete humility in the 7th, and how he gets to complete humility, what that will be like, I don't know, because I don't suffer from complete humility. But it's how charming and sweet he is, I think, is the thing that brings people back to him, and the sense of humor that he has, that he faces everything with hope, and I think that's what really draws people to him more than his adventures, even, because I know when a character works because the reader mail pops up, and we usually get 10 to 20,000 letters a year. The year the first Odd Thomas was published, we got 50,000 letters, almost entirely about that character. So I think it's less what he does and more who he is that draw people to him.
Let me ask you about the digital-only books that you released about Odd. Do you do a lot of reading on Nooks, on Kindles, that sort of thing?
I'm so old-fashioned in many ways, and I collect books, so the hardbound book will always be my preferred edition, I believe. But there's something fascinating about ebooks. You can reach new readers that way, who will sample you that way when they wouldn't necessarily go into a bookstore looking for you. And the 3-part Odd interlude that I did, which is outside the 7-book Odd series, and shows Odd in a somewhat different light, that will be published in paperback eventually.
Okay.
But you can do in ebooks, like I wrote a 30,000-word piece called The Moonlit Mind. There's no longer a magazine market for novellas, and it's something I wouldn't be able to write if there weren't an ebook market. So it does give you the chance to write stories you otherwise wouldn't do.
Mm-hmm. What about the upcoming movie, the adaptation of Odd Thomas? What do you think of the characters that they've already sort of cast?
Well, Steve Sommers, who directed it, and is a very successful director. He did Mummy, The Mummy Returns. He did the best Huckleberry Finn ever filmed. He's a really sweet, down-to-earth guy. Nothing Hollywood about him, and I've gotten to like him enormously through the process, and I trusted him, and he delivered a wonderful film. And Anton, I didn't know Anton's work. He's very young, of course, and only beginning his career. But Steve said, there's only one guy to play Odd Thomas. It's Anton Yelkin. And I said, well, I don't know him. And however, when I saw the finished film, I let out a great sigh of relief after his first scene because he nails the character perfectly. In fact, I don't think there's a bad performance in the whole movie. It's really quite a wonderful piece.
That's great. And you've worked with filmmakers before. As the writer of the original source, how much do you have to trust the filmmakers to be true to your vision?
Well, the other ones haven't always been very true to it.
Right.
I said to usually I want to strangle them to death, but I said to my attorney, look, I've had such bad luck. If somebody comes and says that the film right's available, I'm not going to say yes or no. I don't want you saying yes or no. I want you to call me and tell me who they are, and then we'll decide whether the rights are available. And that's how, when Steve called, I decided, okay, well, maybe, and let me talk to him. And we talked for an hour, and he had the character down perfectly, so I had to trust him. And he turns out not to have it's this amazing way about him that is so different from Hollywood, where egos are as huge as the Empire State Building there, and Steve's got a kind of cottage-size ego. He's a very sweet man, family-oriented, and he wants to do the best work he can do, and that makes him singularly different than anybody I've encountered there before. So the trust was well placed this time.
That's great. Well, I know that you have more interviews this morning. It has been a real honor to be able to talk with you.
Well, it's been a pleasure to be there.
Thank you so much, Dean Koontz. It's been great to talk with you.
Thank you. Take care.
Dean Koontz, the author of Odd Apocalypse and the other great Odd Thomas books. You can find them in stores right now, but if you are caller 6 at 636-1350, 636-1350, you will win a copy of the book. This is the News and Talk of Sonoma County, 1350 KSRO.